Greetings once again. It's a pleasure to be back and it's a pleasure to be having this conversation with you. For today, I'm going to talk about the intricacies of senior leadership roles for young professionals. This is an important topic, especially in the healthcare space where there are so many dynamics and so many changes that are happening. But also, with all these changes, then there are coming new opportunities and new requirements. And these opportunities that are coming up for young professionals, then they need young professionals who are actually attuned to the needs of those roles, but also are suited in terms of competencies and also the agility to be able to adapt to these new demands. Why do I talk about these as a critical bit of it for me? In the recent past, we've had regulatory requirements that are coming that are actually more stringent for us as young professionals and also people who are practicing in the healthcare space. With these new requirements, one of the key bits is we need people who have the qualifications and this particular skill set that are necessary for the role. And that would be in terms of even the licensing requirements for the same opportunities that are necessary. Then ultimately, how does that impact our practice? We understand that we don't have as many professionals who have been trained. For example, when we look at it from the pharmacy space, we have around 5,500 or thereabout pharmacists who have been trained and available in the country. With these pharmacists who are trained and the requirement that and a couple of facilities, depending on their levels of practice, that is from level 4 and above, must have a pharmacist. All the distributorship, wholesale pharmaceutical companies and distributorships must have a pharmacist in charge, including manufacturing facilities. And then when we come to manufacturing facilities, we need pharmacists in different production lines and different roles as per the organizational structure in these organizations. This then means the opportunities that are coming up, there's a higher likelihood that they will need to employ a pharmacist who might be young, actually almost just graduating from school, into their managerial roles or leadership roles in these companies. These are senior leadership roles, and as termed as senior leadership roles, the scope of responsibilities will cut from one, setting up structures and guidelines on how things need to work. Beyond setting up structures is managing people, working with people and achieving results through other people within the departments where an individual is working in an organization. That is not an easy task, especially when you're a young professional with all the knowledge that you've acquired from your education from school and you're now getting into a practice where you expected and you hope that you get somebody to guide you and walk this process with you. Then now you are alone, you're going to find it out, to structure the systems, work with people to deliver the results. There's a whole ball game altogether. And therefore then, as a young professional in such a setting, there is need for you to understand that one, the ideal situation and actually the real approach of how things would work is you get into a company, you have somebody to handhold you, you have systems and structures that are in place and you're able to work alongside those and to be able to deliver results. Unfortunately, that is not the reality, in the sense that with stringent regulatory requirements that are being put on organizations, it is this point that they're realizing that they need to set up structures. They need to have these more standard operating procedures, working procedures, organizational workflows and all that need to be developed. In the sense, it is you coming in to help them develop those documents and those frameworks and those layouts as they need to be there. So that is a work that you still have to do. Unfortunately, you don't have the experience that is associated with the same. Does it mean that you will give up on the role? Definitely not. There will be people who will help you along that journey, and that is important. You've been used to working under guidance and also with people overseeing whatever you're doing to help you understand whether it's right or wrong. This is a situation where you're getting into a company, most likely you might get people who are senior and older than you in terms of practice and more experience, but then by the virtue of your academic qualification, they will be depending on you for guidance by the virtue that you're more qualified, you're the pharmacist, you're the person in charge, and you've also been accorded that leadership role as the person, manager, responsible, or whatever head of department or unit where you are. Therefore then, how do you handle all these dynamics and how do you get to embrace them? That is the question that I want to answer in this clip that we're talking about it today. So the first thing that is happening, the ideal and the most desirable situation is that you're getting into a company that has structures, and I'm hoping that most of the people, managers, the leaders in the industries and entrepreneurs who are running these organizations or companies, they would be willing to put in the work to set up the structures so that things would work easier, things would work better, and there will be a way of doing things in a better way. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and therefore we hope that as young professionals, when we're getting into these spaces, we will redesign and actually reconfigure the dynamics and the landscape to ensure that the next generation don't have to contend with the same things. So then, if you're a young professional who's been given this opportunity, what do? The first bit is about being honest, being transparent, and being accountable enough to let the person who is hiring you for the role understand that you are done with your schooling, you have the qualifications, yes, meaning technically you have sound knowledge and practical nuances around how that role needs to be delivered on. The only thing you do not have is the experience. And therefore, for you to be able to deliver on the role, that experience will be in form of you seeking insights from the leaders of the company by the virtue that they're already people who are leaders in the company. 2, seeking out insights and guidance from other stakeholders and other professionals and peers within the industry. If you're getting into company A today, there's a higher likelihood there's another company who does this, that does the same role, same kind of work that you're doing, and therefore you can reach out to a professional practicing in that company for guidance, for insights, and for support in terms of mentorship to be able to deliver in your own role. It doesn't mean you discuss the specific nuances around what we're dealing with at work, but rather being able to seek counsel, being able to seek guidance, and to maybe brainstorm around some technical operational challenges that you might be facing at that moment. You need to be open to communicate your lack of experience, but also be willing to provide for how you intend to close the gap in experience in your role. That is number 1. Point number 2, when you're in such a situation, then you need to also understand that the people you're working with, they might have been in the company longer than you. By the virtue that they've been there longer than you, they understand how things work, they understand how they've been executing, whether the processes are there or not, and therefore you need to be able to tap into the knowledge and experience that they have to be able to document the process as per their experiences. Then, guided by the experiences, look at what are the best practices in the industry from your engagement, but also from the regulatory guidelines and framework that are already in place. In that case, then, you will be coming up with a process that is actually has been adopted and embraced by the people you are supposed to manage. They're giving you the trust and the confidence that they want to work with you because they feel you see them as individuals, as human beings, as professionals going to work with you. Therefore, they will give you the chance to lead them, but also be learning from them and designing a solution that works for the company, works for the people that you're working with, and works for you as a professional who is taking up that leadership mantle, that leadership role as you're going around it. And that is a very, very important bit around how things are going to move for us. Those 2 key bits are important for you as a professional. Unfortunately, those are things that we're not taught in school, and therefore we need to be open, we need to embrace them as we move along. For organizations, I think it is a moment that we have to now embrace the fact that having processes and operational systems in place is not a good to have, but it is a necessity. It is a critical requirement because when you're employing people who are going to come in and be able to deliver solutions, they need somebody who can walk the journey with them. They need somebody who can guide them. How do you help them with that journey? By the virtue that you're a senior leader in the industry, you have access to people who you can call on, who can come on board and give guidance. How do you access those people? Professional associations and professional networks are there. How is your company collaborating in trade associations and trade networks? How is your company, how are you as a professional engaging with industry leaders in the same industry where you are? Because if you have that access to that industry platform, you're able to tap into insights from senior leaders and also facilitate the linkages to help you shape systems and processes in the organization. Failure to which we are currently having a situation where I remember last month or so, I had a conversation with some of my colleagues and they were like, I got into this company, I want to be a manager, yes, I'm ready to do the job, but the experience is not what I expected. I'm going to figure out the journey on my own, nobody's hand-holding me, and I'm not so clear. So then the option that I have is either to leave the company and start in a junior level role, or sit in and maybe make mistakes along the journey with nobody guiding me. How do we ensure that you're able to perform? We want you to thrive, we want you to excel. Reach out to people, seek mentors, engage in trade associations, professional associations. Let's shape the future together, knowing that as young as you are, somebody believes in your capability and your potential to deliver solutions and deliver impact in the industry. If you're going to deliver that, 1, honesty, transparency. Subsequently, reach out for guidance and networks as you need to be, but embrace the teams that you're going to work with. Because by embracing them, you're able to shape an industry that we all desire and we all hope for. When you get stuck, reach out and we'll be able to support. Thank you so much for this conversation. If you enjoy the conversation, my call to you is subscribe to the channel, share this with that young person you feel who is young professional who needs this kind of insight. Let's shape the future together. And in case of any concerns, reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to have a conversation. Thank you and have a good one.